you hear that, you can just hear Big God a few keys lower. And it's part of the day's delight, isn't it? I mean, Christmas Day is here. We have a white Christmas. Yeah, the roads are slick. But the kids are home. College has their breaks. Business travel seems to be minimized. And it gives you time to be home. Or at least to have others come to your home or you to go to theirs. The overstretched schedules of sports and lessons and social engagements seem to open up this time of year so that we can, well, I guess we fill them, don't we, with Christmas and holidays and families. And it's not just you, the whole family. It seems like the whole world really kind of desires to have that feeling of home at Christmas. Again, whether it's they're at home or they're visiting. And as much joy as that brings, it actually gets better. I know when I talk to people who are coming into my office and they want to ask the pastor, they say, we want to get married. And you can just see the twinkle in these young people's eyes. They're so excited about getting married. I mean, they've got this romantic idea. They've got their honeymoon already figured out. They're really excited. And I say, as good as your love is, it can be even better. And when I tell them that, they are intrigued. Because they have a great love, but when you say there's something more, well, they want to hear about it. As much joy as the Christmas season brings, there's a tranquility that we wonder, how long is it going to last? Is it only a matter of time before the different relatives come and there's that one relative that you just kind of smile and you love because they're your relative, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And sometimes something's going to be said or politics gets mentioned. And you know what that really needs to remind us about is not the differences and the disdain or the friction that we have. It needs to remind us about God's grace that we need to be forgiving one another. Over and over again we hear this, and it's so true. The one who's suffering the most is the one who's not forgiving the other person, the one who's holding that forgiveness back because of what was done or said to them or to someone they know. Grace is yours because another made his home with you. And that's what we're celebrating this day. Today we rejoice because the Word became flesh and dwells among you. And that's just the thing I think we need to hear today. It's that eternal divine Son of God becoming flesh, taking on human nature, flesh and blood, in the womb of Mary, and has been born in the flesh. But there's one more verse, one more reason to celebrate that's revealed by a real precise translation. The Word became flesh and tabernacled. I know that's a churchy word. You might think it's only a Jewish word. It's not. It's a biblical word. Tabernacled among us. What does that mean? The incarnate Word of God, Jesus Christ, tabernacled. A tabernacle was a tent designed by God himself that would be a place where he chose to dwell with the people when they were there. The plans were given to Moses. Here's how I want you to design it. And Moses would do that, and it served the people of Israel for some 500 years before it was replaced by a temple, which followed the exact same pattern or design, but it became a permanent structure rather than a tent. You see, there's something more. That's been our theme all through Advent. If you've been attending regularly, you've noticed that there's always something more. Jesus tabernacles among us. Everything that God promised about the tabernacle, Jesus fulfilled in his very being. He was the place where God dwells among us. No more need for a tabernacle or a temple. Jesus is where it's at. And that's saying a lot. Now, the tabernacle was a place of awe. We think of a tent, with poles and things that would make, barriers and show it how they would all set that up. But it was apparent that God was present in his tabernacle because they would behold his glory there. It was his cloud that would rest in that place, that most holy place, that innermost part. And while the most holy place was not entered by anyone but the high priest only one time a year, the glory of the Lord was so powerful and so intense that it would show up outside the top of it, like a huge pillar of a cloud. And so anywhere from wherever you were, you would look and you would know that the presence of God was in that place. When I think of that, I just stand in awe and wonder that the Lord is present there. And now that awe, that presence, is in the baby Jesus. Perhaps you have a manger scene in your home, and maybe you look now and you'll see that little creation, you'll see the little baby Jesus. You just think about that the awesomeness, the full presence of God dwelt in that baby. Now, there was nothing in the appearance of Jesus that would make him more glorious than anybody else. I mean, you would look at him and you would see he's just a normal baby. That's all he looked like from the outside. But I think we can still marvel at him. Then, in this man, the eternal God dwells. This child lying and being held in his mother's arms, the same arms that he was there to create. In the universe that he was there to create. Marvel at that majesty. And how great a God do we have? And this seems such a conflict or a contradiction. How great a God we have that he would humble himself to be born of Mary and yet remain the source of everything. I think it's the same reason why the tabernacle inspired awe. And you know that awe-ness also inspired true fear. And I mean the scary fear and trembling kind of fear. You see, the glory of the Lord could be seen coming out of the tabernacle. And that was the same glory that the people remembered that was around Mount Sinai when the Lord descended to speak with Moses. And it looked like the whole mountain was on fire. A boundary was set around the mountain so that no person or animal would step on it lest they die. That is scary fear. And there's an awesome fear that we're going to be talking about today. That same fear needs to be part, I think, of ours as the word tabernacles among us. It's not something that many churches, let alone pastors, like to talk about. We don't want God to be awesome and fear-inspiring. We want him to be a loving God, a brotherly love, a warm and fuzzy teddy bear kind of God. And he loves like no one can love. And he can comfort like no one can comfort. But he's also an awesome, incredible God. The most holy place was the precise location of where God's presence would be in the tabernacle. And one day a year, the high priest would enter it, and only after specific cleansing rituals to make sure that he's cleansed spiritually or ritually in order to enter into that place. Because if you were to walk into the most holy place without that protocol, it meant death. It wasn't a slap in the hand. It wasn't, oh, you're going to lose your position. It meant death. And some would say it wasn't always a man-instigated death. Sinners don't now walk, or better word, waltz. We shouldn't waltz as sinners into the presence of God. Hey, I'm a sinner. Hi. Even though we have the humility of God becoming a baby, he's the holy God, the creator of all things, and he should be approached and be held in his glory. There's a reason why the faithful keep coming to the tabernacle. But it's awe-inspiring to be in the presence of the Lord God Almighty. It's kind of a fearful thing to know that you can never hide your sin or explain away yourself when you behold the glory of God. When he comes and you come to face, when you come into his presence, there it is. It's exposed. But when the Lord came, as fearful as the people were, He promised that He would dwell among us, but He would do it, and He would put on a covering, a veil, a mask, a thing called grace. You see, God desires to be with us. And He also knows that we're sinners who cannot truly be present with God and behold Him in our unfettered sinness. So He puts on a mask, and He wants to be present with God so that we would live. And that's grace. And that's the tabernacle. And it's all bound up in Jesus. Here the child is born, Mary, God dwelling with His people. And it's because He doesn't want to be apart from us, so He puts on this human frame, and He puts on grace. Grace comes to us. And it only comes to us because a price was paid that we can't pay. So Jesus pays the price with His flesh. The glory of God is revealed. And we think it's in His fullness, but I think, and I would say that the glory of God is truly in His fullness when He's on the cross. The night in which He was betrayed, Jesus says, the hour has come. Glorify your Son. Put those two together this Christmas. The night in which He was betrayed, the hour has come. Glorify your Son. The full glory. Other times Jesus said it wasn't His time yet. His time was at the cross. This was the time of glory. And glory and grace abounds. And with unending grace, He now dwells among us. He tabernacles with us. His presence, His glory, His grace is no less available to us as it was on that day when He was born in the manger, when He was in Mary's arms. His glory is always present with you when you read the Scriptures. It's present under the bread and the wine, right here, when He comes to you. The same body and blood that Jesus held, or Mary held in her arms. The same body and blood that was crucified for you and for your salvation. The same body and blood that rose from the dead. The same body and blood that will come again on that last day. The same body and blood which you and I will behold in His full glory again when He comes again, full of grace and truth. I think it's exciting on Christmas Day. I wish more people would come to church on Christmas Day too, to hear this wonderful message of the incarnation, God dwelling among us, and then God tabernacling with us. Tabernacling. It's like being welcomed home. You're at home, here with Christ, as He's present with you, in His Word, in His baptism, in the supper. And that means God is at home with you because of Christ. You know, we're singing that difficult song, God's own Son is born a child, God the Father is reconciled. Today we added the final verses, to our King God ever reigning, raise your hymns of homage high. Raise them high because they are found in the wonder child, in lowly swaddling clothes lying, yet all the world with free grace supplying. The next time you're in church and you hear the pastor say, God's grace, mercy, and peace to you, pause for a moment and remember that Jesus came to tabernacle with you. And that's what He does when His word is proclaimed, the sacrament's given. May you indeed have a Merry Christmas.